Night, Vince. We're really only 27 minutes into the show. And
really?
People are going to be very disappointed, but sorry, kids. Not every show can be 2 hours long. I think before we go, we should talk a little bit about last night.
All right.
Because I posted something on the board saying that after last night, you would concur that Brent should be voted loves him in the poll of what do you think of Brent?
Yes, there's no other option at this point. It has to be that you love Brent Kremen. Everyone loves Brent Kremen. There can be no other alternative. I don't know how many details about the whole evening we need to get into, but long story short, we met some old friends. Myself, Bryan, Brent, and these three sisters we hung out with. And
I'm doing a search on Jenna Dewan here while you tell the story, so go on.
I guessed. So one of these, actually two of these sisters were back in town after long absences, and one of them had a favorite bar in Linwood, right off Highway 99 in Linwood, which, for those of you familiar with the area, should tell you the quality of this bar. And we walked in, and it turns out this bar on Thursday nights has, and I quote, Larry-oke karaoke.
I had not noticed the Larry-oke part of the karaoke.
I noticed that immediately. That was the name of the party, I guess you'd say.
All right, go on.
And so Bryan and Brent and I sat down. The other girls, as females are wont to do, were late. And
let me talk a little bit about this. We went to dinner, and then we were going to go to this bar. And let's see, there was how did this work? Basically,
keep in mind they may be listening.
I know, that's why I'm being very careful here. Me and Brent and Vince went to the bar, and they were going to meet us there. And the idea they were just going to run back to their house real quick. I don't even know why they were going back to the house. Was that ever even explained?
At one point, one of the women was not going to go. Can we name her?
Sure, you can name anybody.
I don't think Tina was going to go. So they're going to take her home.
No, but she decided to go at dinner.
Right. So then they still went home. I don't know why.
Yeah, I have no idea why they went home. So they went home, and we went to the bar, and we got to the bar at about what time?
10:30?
No, hell no.
No, you're right.
10:10 maybe.
Probably about 10:10.
Maybe even earlier. So we got there at about 10:10, and the bar was called, what the hell was it called? Tito's? Mondo's. Sorry, I mixed up my Mexicans. Mondo's. And there were indeed some Mexicans there. It's a very surly type of bar, and I don't think all of us necessarily fit in. I did, of course, being Mexican and all. Vince, way too white and normal looking. And Brent, a Jew in a Mexican bar is just a weird thing.
I would not describe the bar as Mexican.
Well, it was Mondo's.
It may have been owned by a Mexican, but the crowd was a very eclectic mix of white punk rockers.
There were the punk rockers there, yes.
And I saw one young black male who appeared to be doing his best Tupac impression 24/7.
I saw him as well.
Yes.
But yes, there were some Mexicans and Indians there. I was keeping my eye on them.
Okay.
Because I thought if anyone was going to shoot me, it was going to be one of those guys. I didn't think the white punks were going to do it. The Tupac guy would likely have gotten shot. I know that's probably a tasteless joke, but he didn't look like he was packing anything. He looked like he was going to be the victim.
He looked way too scared.
Very skinny and very scared. And yeah, so I was a little bit worried about that. But we showed up at about 10:10, and the three of us sat down at a table. And by about 10:25, I'm like, okay, this is a rib. And they began communicating with you over the phone. Mm-hmm. He began getting text messages, I believe.
No, she called me.
Oh.
Yeah, which just stunned us because we didn't have her number. We were surprised she had ours. So,
you said, Monica says he'll be here in 10 minutes or some ridiculous amount of time.
Like 15 minutes.
Yeah, so finally at about 10:35, I said, all right, listen, if they're not here by 10:45, we're going home. This is beyond retarded. I don't... And what time do they show up? 10:45.
Yes.
On the button. And I was ready to go at that point.
I know you were.
So anyway, go on.
So the girls finally showed up and the party began in earnest. Because it was not three dorks hanging out at a table by themselves looking extraordinarily gay. And so we all got to drinking, and the girls pulled out the karaoke binder. They were very excited, and I made my long-awaited return to the karaoke stage. The girls went up and did whatever songs, all the usual songs you see girls doing. You know, I Will Survive. What the hell else did they do? Some of their oldie they did. Oh, Black Velvet, Atlanta Miles. Meanwhile, Bryan was off playing pool.
Well, I got to say this. First off, before they arrived, we heard the best karaoke ever.
Yes, because
one of the white punks sang "Take on Me."
Yes, by Aha, a great song from the 80s.
He did the most phenomenal job.
Yes, for those of you who... we have some young people listening to the show who sadly may not be aware of Aha and Take On Me. There are some extraordinarily high notes in this song.
And this guy was no John Cena. This man was legit.
Yeah.
He was a punk.
Yes.
And he got up there and he sang the song, and I was just in awe.
And he went falsetto, and he got up there, and yeah.
Anyway...
I turned to Bryan and said, I'm not going after him.
No. But then the girls showed up, and they decided that they were going to make everybody sing.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few things I don't do. One of them is sing. The other is dance. And they would not stop harassing me all night long.
No.
And I was not singing.
Yes.
So, in a way, that sort of put a slight damper on the whole evening, not to mention the fact that earlier in the day, I had twisted my ankle walking. That's always it's kind of an ego booster right there.
That's true.
When you're walking and your ankle just rolls.
It's a sign you're getting old.
It really is. But actually, I did, to be honest, jump off something and twist my ankle upon landing. I thought it had broken, but it is not.
What were you jumping off?
A mat.
You should have said a ladder.
I was jumping off a bridge,
yes.
And I rolled my ankle upon landing. So I had a hurt ankle. I hadn't drank virtually anything. I had a couple of sips of Monica's drink, but I didn't really want to drink. And there are people harassing me to sing, so I really wasn't in the greatest of moods. So I played a little bit of pool, and then right when I thought the night it was kind of, I'd go home and sort of go like, well, that was fun, but what the hell? It suddenly became awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
There are three songs in a row, the last of which is the culmination of the story, really. Myself and Monica did a duet of Queen's Fat Bottom Girls, which is an outstanding song. Their other friend, they brought another friend with them, Mike something. And he did something, and God bless him. That's all I'll say.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
The fact that you don't remember it says a lot.
Oh, I was playing pool.
You were playing pool. You missed nothing. Then Brent Kremen went up on the karaoke stage by himself.
I should know that I knew Brent was going to sing.
Yeah.
Brent had drank about 5 drinks over the course of the evening.
Starting at dinner.
And Brent in real life is drunk. He's just naturally drunk.
But walking around.
Put a little liquor in him, and you've just got a hammered man. And he looked through the karaoke book and determined he was going to sing Light My Fire.
By the Doors.
By the Doors.
Yes.
If there's a man that reminds me of Jim Morrison, it is Brent Kremen.
No, it's not. Unless you mean the Jim Morrison of today, which is dead.
Go on.
Yes.
Thanks for ruining the joke. That was sarcasm.
I'm sorry.
At its highest, but go on.
I apologize. So, yes, Brent
Kremen does not, in fact, remind me of Jim Morrison, Vince.
Oh, I understand now.
Okay, good.
You were making it funny.
Oh, my God, Go on. Okay. How do you survive in the world, dude? Jeez. Go on.
So I'm very Brent-like right now, actually. So Brent's standing up there.
This is becoming IATA.
With his microphone, and the words began to play on the screen, but Brent's not singing. and I look over, and he's standing there standing straight up and down with one hand holding the microphone up and the other hand straight down at his side. And he's staring at the screen, and I can see his lips are moving, but there's no sound coming out. And I can't figure out what's going on. And then one of the girls runs up to him and pushes the bottom of the microphone up to his mouth so you can hear him. Because he was holding the microphone down here and singing over it.
Yes.
And you cannot hear it at all. So then we could hear him sing. And Brent's, first of all, there were two notable impressions. Brent's singing voice is just slightly less squeaky than his speaking voice. But Brent reciting song lyrics is the same as Brent singing. That's number one. Number two, this man displayed a magical, remarkable ability to not get the rhythm of the song.
Yeah.
I never thought the song Light My Fire would be hard to sing, at least rhythmically. The time to hesitate is through.
Okay, we don't need to hear it.
Okay. Brent couldn't handle that. You would hear Brent start to sing, and then the backing vocals would come in about 4 seconds later, carrying the song through. It was a magical moment. I laughed until I wept. He was unreal. And then when he was done, he got through the entire song without hitting one word at the point in the music we're supposed to go, he calmly handed the microphone over to the man and returned to our table as if nothing had happened.
Yes, sat down and just went on with his life.
He sat down and stared ahead in silence.
I would like to note that I did give Brent a standing ovation when it was over.
Oh, yes.
And I shook his hand, and I told him he was more of a man than I would ever be, because that is true. You will never see me getting up in front of human beings and singing, and he did it. And he didn't give a shit. He did not care one bit, and...
He wanted to sing Light My Fire, and in a way he did.
He accompanied the tune in some strange way. And it was a beautiful moment. And at that point, I was like, this night was a victory.
That's right.
This night was truly a victory. And I should also note that I played 2 games of pool. I should mention this. The first was against Tina, who some of you might know as Galatea. And I whipped her ass.
Oh.
And during this game, about midway through, her other sister came over and she began whispering to her and looking at me. And I thought, this cannot be good. And after I had beaten her, the sister came up and said, don't suppose you'd want to play another game? And I was like, sure. And her first move was to take a pool stick, put it on the table, and roll it to make sure it was properly balanced and such. And at that point, I thought, well, I'm fucked. And indeed, I was raped in this game of pool.
The best thing about this game was she took you to the edge of death and then kept you there for about 20 minutes.
I actually said, can you just beat me and stop playing with me like I'm a mouse?
Yes.
There were about...
I walked over.
I was stripes.
You were stripes, and there were 4 stripe balls on the table and the 8 ball, and that was it.
No, actually, you came over at a good time then. Because earlier there were 9, or however many balls there are total in the stripes, 8, 7, all the stripes were on the table. And there were 2 solids and an 8 ball left.
There you go.
So I just got mutilated in this game of pool. So
there was one other highlight of this game. You've already forgotten it, but I have not, because it was...
When I tripped her and she fell on her ass?
No, I missed that part.
Oh, my... Well...
Okay.
I'll tell that story very quickly. I didn't really trip her. I'd walked back from watching Brent, and she was backing up, and she just sort of tripped over my foot and fell down. And I was like, oh, my God. And as I was helping her back up, I turned around, and Tina and Monica are coming at me with their lats flared. You think I'm joking? And they were ready to kick my ass. And I had to stick there, and that's the only thing that saved my life. I was like, I did not trip her. I am not beating up your sister. She tripped over me. It was an accident. I am helping her up like a gentleman. Please, don't kick my ass. And Monica would have. You know this.
Oh, Monica killed you.
Oh, yes. This is... Yeah, so...
But still, the image of Tina and Monica flaring their lats is...
They were.
Wow.
Yeah, you can confirm this with them.
I'm sure they won't deny it.
For those of you, I think some of you might have actually seen, the pictures ended up on our board that were taken at the WrestleMania, whatever it was, at the Safeco Field.
19.
Yeah, and there was Natina there, and then Monica was the one with all the tattoos. And when I mean all the tattoos, I mean
every tattoo on Earth belongs to her.
She is like a Samoan. She's just tattooed top to bottom, just completely.
She's had some work done, yes.
Yeah, and so this was coming at me, and I was like, okay. Hold on a minute here. I'm retired.
Yes.
So what was the other part?
The other part was at one point, while she was kicking your ass, Jamie at one point bent over to take a pool shot. Okay, now you're remembering this. Yes. So she bent over, leaned over, very close, horizontal to the table, and was lining up a shot. Meanwhile...
Now, hold on. Okay, you can tell it.
All right.
I have to add something after you're done.
Exactly on the opposite end of the table, Brent Kremen is standing. And Brent looks down at Jamie and realizes, hey, I've got a view. And he proceeded to, and you'll think I'm making this up, he squatted on the floor with his head directly above the pocket Jamie was aiming for, and the biggest shitting grin you've ever seen on a human being on his face, and he just sat there and stared and smiled broadly. And Jamie was oblivious to all this, which is kind of sad.
Well, no, because this is the part I got to tell. I remember this, but what I saw was she was setting up the shot, and I thought that Brent was bending over the table trying to see if there was a possibility of the shot going in. You know how some people do that?
Sure.
They'll see someone setting up a shot, and they'll get right down there, and they'll go like, is it lined up properly? And then part of the back of my brain was thinking, Brent doesn't know shit about pool. What's he doing?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then later when I heard the story, I was like, Oh!
Well, I was looking over Jamie's shoulder, and there was no question about what Brent Kremen was doing.
Pervert.
He was unabashed.
Wow. So, yeah.
So, yeah, it was a night of Brent doing what he wanted to do and not giving a fuck about anyone else.
Brent was a hero last night. He really was. And by the time the night was over, I'd had a fun time. I'd forgiven my so-called friends for trying to pressure me into something I did not want to do. Peer pressure. Hopefully they're listening to hear that little message right there. But overall, it was a very fun time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I ate a lot of food, got stuffed. We had a wacky waiter. Steve. And
we're going to book it at Beppo's.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a chain or not.
I hate the place. I mean, the food's good, but it's one of those Italian restaurants where...
You had a problem with Italians?
Yeah, I do, actually. I'm racist.
Carry on.
Or would it be racist? Nationalist?
It'd be racist.
Okay, but I'm not, actually. The problem, I love Italian restaurants, you know? Mm-hmm. The all-you-can-eat Olive Garden bowl and shit like that. This place, Buca di Beppo's, they make great food, sure. But it's one of those places where you order something for the whole group.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you want fettuccine? Well, everyone has to agree on fettuccine because you're ordering one thing for the entire group. So we had 6 or 7 people having to figure out what everybody was going to eat.
Yeah.
Which was a bitch. And then we had, like, the other dude showing up, Tom or Bill or whatever his name was. He showed up, and so we ordered more food because we figured he was going to eat. So, of course, he didn't eat. So just all this food, and then when we tried to figure out how to pay, that was an even bigger disaster.
Yeah.
Monica only had 100. Brent and I only had cards. You had no money, as usual.
How dare you? I paid.
I know. And so that was just a bitch. And then, we had the wacky waiter, Steve, who was just wacky. I don't even know what else to say about him.
I'm thankful he didn't kill any of us.
Yeah, he reminded me of Finley, really, sort of.
Okay.
I just saw him tonight. But so, yeah, it was a fun night overall, and Brent was just 5-star man. That's all I got to say.
That is the best way to put it. It was a 5-star Brent Kremen evening.
Yeah, it was. So, those of you, I just got to say, I'll say it again. If you'd have been there in the poll, love him, hate him, abhor him, or whatever the sections were, you'd have just wrote love him.
And then you would have cheated and voted again.
Yeah, you would have. So, anyway, that's story from last night. And really, I don't think we have anything more to talk about here, Vince.
Sports quiz?
No, we don't have a sports quiz.
Someone said there was a quiz for me. Is that not?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Well, then, we'll tease the sports quiz now. We're doing a sports quiz on Tuesday, everyone.
Did you even listen to the show you were performing in on Tuesday, where we said next week we've got a special surprise, the Vinny V Sports Quiz here on the free show?
I don't remember anything about Monday's show other than you liked it.
Yeah, because you were good for once.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is no one else cared. We got no feedback on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do people want? I don't get it.
They want Vinny.
And also Tuesday, I just want to throw this in before we go. I have a special announcement.
Oh, yes, the special announcement.
And I've got to say this about the special announcement. When I first mentioned that I had a special announcement, I made it very clear that people should not be going overboard. This is not some monumental, earth-changing, life-changing deal. And, of course, what immediately happened was the thread started. Figure out Bryan's announcement. So now everybody's expectations are through the roof. My mother's asking me, and all I got to say is wait till she hears what it is.
I demand she be here to find out.
When my mom and...
I believe I'm the only person who knows the special announcement.
Yeah, my grandmother, I think she thought she knew the announcement as well. But I forget what she thought it was. But whatever you thought it was, Granny, you're wrong. And all I got to say is when my family hears the announcement, let's just hope they're not listening. But there is an announcement. It's not a earth-shattering announcement, but I will say that the people I've told the announcement to have thought it was a good announcement.
That's for certain.
Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So don't be thinking that there's going to be video on the Bryan and Vinny Show or anything absurd like that. It's nothing. Believe me, that'll be an announcement you know about long in advance. So, in fact, I'll announce it right now. Someday there'll be Vinny on this show, video of Vinny and I, but it's way down the road.
And I still have no idea why.
Sure.
It's two goofs sitting at a table.
I think they just want to look at you and... I mean, they listen to you and laugh at you, so they may as well look at you and laugh at you.
And they'll look at me and think, hey, this guy's not that weird.
No, it's impossible for them to think
dashing.
That. You are neither striking nor dashing.
Garish.
You're large, hairy, and
I'm not
old.
naked. I am old. I had a dream last night that all my hair had turned white.
Really?
I gotten old and all my hair just turned stark white.
See,
it was strange.
I had an argument with a friend of mine about the midlife crisis. Mm-hmm. We actually have a bet. I have bet this person that I will not have one, and she's certain that I will.
I see.
And this is, I just know that I won't. But just from talking to you, I am certain you're going to have one.
Yeah, probably.
In fact, I know Yeti's not listening, so I may as well say this, but Yeti's had about 4 already. He's just only 31.
And I've had multiple people confirm that.
Yeah, and I am sure that, you may have undergone one in October of this year, a mild one. But I see you having a number of midlife crises.
Yeah.
So, okay, I just want to throw that out there.
I fully expect to just go off the deep end one day and disappear.
But I have a large bet going that I will not, so...
what are the stakes?
I better not mention them, because that might be proof of midlife crisis right there.
All right.
Let's move on, kids. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today. I have nothing more to say, Vince.
Let's move on to the end of the show.
Yeah. Any final words before we wrap it up here today?
No. Play the harmonica.
No.
Did you get another harmonica?
I've had that one.
Oh, okay.
But I cleaned it out. This one I actually bought, and I realized that the one you got me has more holes. And I'm not sure exactly, because I know you didn't spend money on it.
No.
So I'm wondering how you managed to spend no money to get a more advanced harmonica than the one I spent $8 on.
Reverse inflation?
Perhaps that's it.
But yeah,
we've got 2 harmonicas now, so maybe someday I'll pull a Bob and play the harmonica and the guitar at the same time and sing.
That would be impressive.
Actually, I wouldn't be able to sing with the harmonica in my mouth.
That's why I said it would be impressive.
You would have to do all the singing. So
yeah.
Put in your request now for the Bob Dylan song, and Vinny and I will perform it here on this show. So that's pretty much it for today, kids. Thank you very much for listening. We stretched this out to 49 minutes for you bitchers, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So we'll be back on Tuesday with a free show, which will be a major, major show, as we will cover Raw, the Vinny V Sports Quiz, and the major announcement. And, of course, Monday, Figure 4 Daily with... he's going to kick my ass. Just forget I said anything. Please don't kick my ass. I'll make it up to you on Monday.
Is that a secret, too?
And, no, it's not, actually.
You just can't remember his name.
No, I totally forgot. In fact, let me look it up right now, because I feel so bad. He's listening to this right now, and he's going, I'm going to cancel my subscription immediately.
Is it Craig?
No. It's an Englishman.
Oh. That's definitely not Craig, then.
Yeah. The problem is, I'll be honest with the Englishman. And actually, I'm not even going to apologize for forgetting the name. I'm just going to find the name right now, then I'm going to explain what happens here. I think it's Ian Hamilton, to be honest. But
okay.
let me check. Of course, the internet's moving slowly. It is Ian Hamilton. Good.
See, you didn't know.
I didn't know. See, the problem here is this. On the board, there's me, Brian Alvarez. There's Buddy Wayne, BW. There's Brian's friend Vince, Brian's friend Sean, Brian's friend Craig. And everybody else has a wacky nickname.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we've got like Mac-a-Man, and we've got, all of them. N Frog, or whatever.
Acid Helm None.
Acid Helm NJ.
And then people, and I know they do this to me, so they must do it to you too. They send me emails with their real names, and I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, and I get totally confused.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Ian Hamilton, is that Mac-a-Man or is Mac-a-Man?
It's the same thing as you backstage at a wrestling show and everyone's using their kayfabe names.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone calls Avalanche Avalanche.
So, Ian, I'm sorry. I forgot which Ian Hamilton you were. Don't take it personally. I know you. You've been on the show. You were great. It'll be fine this time around as well. So, these things happen. And if it makes you feel any better, I still don't know Juggernaut's name.
Jugs.
He's just Jugs. So, So anyway, that's it for today, kids. Don't kick my ass. I actually don't even know Nut Bunny's name. So I wrote it on his package, and I promptly forgot it. I just know him as Nut Bunnies. So
his real name is not that cool anyway.
And I hope you've gotten your gift by now, because it was mailed many, many days ago. So anyway, that's pretty much it from here, kids. We'll talk to you later on, and I'm just cutting it short, so adios.
Bye.
In the country, I'm got 2 women stays in town. Yeah, boy. I'm got 2 women in the country. I'm got 2 women stays in town. Real I can feel it so careful, 'cause now no dog me round. Say you may be brown-skinned woman, red got your hair long as my arm. Say you may be brown-skinned woman, red got your hair long